I think the big thing is just how much my family means to me. We lived on a golf course, and I just went and hit balls every day because what else do you do in Shreveport, Louisiana when you're 13? It is a Southern soap opera. I loved it. Playing with girls, we actually had a very unique experience. We had 7 freshmen. In 2015, I went to the World Championships. It was my first long drive competition ever. I just have to be efficient. So my golf swing has to be tight, compact, has to be fast.
On this episode of the Fore Interview, it's professional world long driver Alex Phillips.
Cover me, boys. I'm going in.
Who is Alex Phillips? Give us some insight to you both as a person and a player, if you will.
So I started golfing when I was young. It was cheaper than babysitting, so my daddy would take me and my sister out. And I got into golf really seriously in high school. It paid for my college, which was awesome. And I played Division I at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, which was an amazing place. I spent more time at the beach than in class, but it was still just a great experience. And then after college, I was coaching and teaching juniors, and I ended up meeting the 2013 world champion Heather Lemaster. Previously Heather Lemaster, now Heather Manfreda.
Yeah.
And she and I were hitting golf balls on the range together, and there's not a lot of girls that hit the ball like either of us do. And both of us were kind of like, who's this other woman? And we struck up a conversation. I realized she's the 2013 World Long Drive champion, and she talked me into competing in long drive. And so that was back in 2015. I went to the World Championships. It was my first long drive competition ever. Way to just jump right in there, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I ended up in the semifinals. It was awesome. So it was a great experience to get into the world of long drive. So it's been 2.5 years now, and it's been awesome. I'm now transitioning back into playing golf, which I haven't done much since college. A few tournaments here and there, but this is the first year. I'm going to go to Q school and try and actually, get back into actually putting and the short game stuff rather than just hitting the ball really far.
Nice. So that's a lot, and then let's back up through some of that because that's what really kind of made me a fan as I researched some of the stuff you did. And I want to start with something. I watched you knock out Troy Mullins in the Clash of the Canyons. I wasn't there. I watched it on television. And
oh yeah.
So it was. I remember seeing it, and then I watched again just recently. I watched again on YouTube, and it's again an impressive display of power. Yet with a golf swing that can hold up anywhere. So for sure, take it to the course and play stroke play. But I thought it was cute. I'm a father of a young girl, and she's naturally gifted at the game, but she doesn't want to play the game, unfortunately. So I'm not going to push her anywhere. But what I thought, what endeared me to you and watching it again and kind of looking at it is you're so strong, so fluid, so smooth with it, and you knocked it out there. But then you had you kind of gave us kind of a sneak peek into maybe who you are, and this little kind of cheerful little move of shaking your shoulders. That was, I don't know if your dad was there, but it was one, as a dad, I was looking in the stands like looking at my daughter sitting on the range. You just piped one, and she turned around like, look, Dad, look how far I hit that one. And I was like, that she's got it right there. So. Way to go. But that was cool. That was cool. So
if you watch that again during the interview, they actually turned me so the crowd was behind me rather than the grid, because you can see my mom and dad standing behind me. You can hear my mom cheering after each shot. And then my sister was actually down on the grid with me. She came down as my coach.
Yep.
And she was filming me. So it was awesome to have the whole family there.
Yeah, that was really cool. So folks, if you haven't seen it, get on YouTube and watch that. And it's just amazing what she does, and then how you can just get some insight into who she is by her reaction afterwards. That was wonderful. So we'll keep going back here. We'll get it. So how did you start playing the game? Because I think you started at about 13, and you talked about World Long Drive where you got going fast. You got going fast as a junior when I look at the results that you did right out of the gate. So how'd you get started in playing this game?
So when I was a kid, I mean, I'd go out Sunday afternoon with Dad because, again, better than babysitting, so he'd just take me out to the range with him. But I played a lot of other sports that took precedence over golf. I was actually a very good gymnast when I was younger, and I spent most of my time in the gym rather than on the golf course. My tan lines like that a little bit better, but now I spend all my time outside. And that's what happened. My dad got transferred. He was in the casino business, and when I was in 7th grade, he got transferred to Shreveport, Louisiana, and was running one of the riverboat casinos down there. And we moved the beginning of summer. And when you're in 7th grade, the only place to meet friends is at school. But it was the beginning of summer. There was no school, so I had no friends yet. Okay. So we lived on a golf course, and I just went and hit balls every day because what else do you do in Shreveport, Louisiana when you're 13? And that's kind of how I got really actually into golf. My sister got more into volleyball, and that's how she paid for college. Also, she's a bit taller than me. But, so I lived in Shreveport, Louisiana in middle school, and I just lived right on the golf course. I was very lucky that I got to play every day, mostly because I had nothing else to do. Fishing and golfing. What else do you got in Louisiana?
You got Krispy Kreme donuts.
So I was able to, I met one other kid my age on the driving range, and Oliver and I would go out and play every day just because that's what you do. And that's kind of how I got into it when I came back. We moved back to Nevada a year later, and that's how I got into actually playing junior golf tournaments. I was up in Reno, and I won the state championships in high school, which was awesome. That's actually a great story, totally off topic, but I ended up going birdie eagle on 17-18 to push a playoff and made birdie on the first sudden death hole to win, which had never had anything like that happen in high school state championships. So it was a great finish. And that just, made me really love golf because that's the exciting side of it. And that summer I met my college coach and visited Cal Poly and never looked back. I loved that school. I loved playing for Coach Cartwright. And moving to Shreveport, Louisiana was probably the best thing ever for my golf game.
Yeah, I don't know many people that have said that. I mean, obviously work for David Toms in the family, but no, yeah, that's, however you find the game, right? And you got hooked, and it must have been the shot and playing and practicing and well, you got it because you just, tore through everything right through the process. But, you've been so successful.
And then I was very lucky. Oh, sorry. I was very lucky when I came back to Reno. I got into the first tee program, which was awesome. Which I ended up coaching with them for like 12 years. They're an awesome program. But when I was in it, I was the first one to graduate in Nevada through the Birdie Eagle program, and which got me to go play at that Pebble Beach tournament, which is coincides with the Champions Tour event. And the first year I got to play, I had Gary Player as my partner and Patty Sheehan as my caddy, which is yeah. Not to drop names, but it was a great experience. And that's when I realized that I wanted to take golf to the next level. That's when I said I want to play in college. I wanted to try and play after college. That was a moment, was seeing them and how happy they were and how much they could still play golf and in such great places like Pebble Beach. That changed my course, was that experience. And just junior golf in general really was a big part of it for me.
Yeah, what an amazing experience. That's bucket list. I mean, those are names that are on people's bucket list to play with, and just getting to spend that time with them and picking their brains and just a buddy of mine's got a saying. He's like, "This doesn't suck." Like whenever we've got to do something that was really cool, like play Pebble Beach. You're sitting out there. This doesn't suck. You're like So I got that's at the highest level of this doesn't suck. So wonderful.
Absolutely. The first team in Northern Nevada and the first team in general just set up such a great program, and that's something I will forever be grateful for. But for my story, that's a big part of it was that week at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So you do it off the golf course too. You did, we're talking. Let's go back to school a little bit. So you're well credentialed academically, from what I see. So is it safe to say you're a math nerd? Are you a math nerd, Alex?
Oh no, you didn't find that stuff on me, did you?
Oh yes, I did. The power of the internet, Alex.
Oh man,
it's
I was
supposed to be
on a
all
math
true. So we'll
team.
find out here. You were.
It was, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was the only one from my middle school to qualify for the state championships in mathletics.
Math. There you go. I call my son a mathlete, but actually it's funny. I've never even heard that term, mathletics. Wonderful. So hey, folks, if you want to be a caddy, your caddy's got to have the right numbers, right? Because you're going to call him out. You need one that's ready to go. Like I did the numbers already in my head. Give it to me. So
thankfully, my caddy is actually an architect by trade. He has a degree from a great school in architecture, and so we both nerd out a lot on the golf course.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that side of him on the bag with me.
Wonderful. Who's your caddy?
His name's Josh Andona. We actually just met. Oh, this is another great story. I met at the Skins game down in the desert.
Ooh.
It's at a par 3 course. It's all late at night, and it's one of those things that makes you love golf again. It's just nighttime. Everyone's just playing. We played a 50-some or something ridiculous. Like everyone's just playing and hitting balls, and it's an experience for one. And it's one of those times where you're just like, I love this game and how it can bring so many people together.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Josh, and he's been on my bag all year.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that's great, man. That's a heck of a story. Yeah, those are fun. Those are those are games that are just opposite that people are doing, and even, you get 6 or 7 people at night and you go out. It's hard to play like a 7-some, but you can have some pretty good fun, going out and playing a scramble or goofing around or doing those kind of things. And people let their hair down. You got to remember that golf is a break from everything, right? It's
exactly.
For you, it's different because it's a focus and it's a job and it's a career. But, you also get to say, hey, I can take I don't have to have the serious side all the time. It's kind of fun. So,
yeah,
wow.
It
really
really
cool.
is.
What a way.
And something like that is something to get so many more people into the game, I mean, it's so much fun, even with people that I wouldn't regularly want to play 18 holes with because they don't usually play 18 holes. It's fun to get out and play, a 9-hole par 3 course and just have that experience and just that time with friends and family. And it's a different side of golf that makes me, every day reminds me how much I love the sport.
It's an absolute blast. So let's talk about your college a little bit. You said you went to Cal Poly. I think you played and both coached there, right? I think you coached there.
Yes, I stayed for a season after college. I was joking with my coach, and I was like, you should give me a job as the assistant. And he goes, sure. And I'm like, great. I didn't want to leave anyways. I lived a quarter mile from the beach with my best friend in San Luis Obispo, California. Who would ever leave that place? It was amazing. And I was able to coach, and I was kind of in charge of recruiting for a year. Got to watch a lot of the juniors I coached and who were up and coming into college, and that was a great experience.
Yeah, that's a beautiful spot in the country, and again, being able to get to do what you love to do and kind of help bring some others along must have been a pretty amazing feat. But what was the best part about being on the team? Just when you were a player, what was the best part about that?
The best part about having a team was just the traveling and having people there. It's a much different experience doing the mini tour life, even long drive. You're traveling by yourself, hopefully with a caddy or whatever. But when you're in college, you're with a team and you're able to root for each other, and that's a different experience in itself. There's a lot of girls that just love that and then don't like traveling by themselves. You see it a lot on the mini tours, but playing with girls, we actually had a very unique experience. We had 7 freshmen start at the same time. So we had 1 junior, 2 sophomores, and 7 freshmen. We were a very young team when I started college. Okay. And then we progressed through college all together, which was definitely a unique experience for everybody, that we didn't really have that senior girl, the seniority that was helping lead. We kind of all came in together and lived and moved on together for the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's what is that saying? You jump off a bridge, like everybody held hands, let's go, right?
Yeah,
so you were there, you grew up together, kind of, came along the way, and that's it's a different experience because you got to be with them, and you didn't lose anybody, right? It's like, oh, there's the senior's gone. Now I got to step in. The next one's gone. You got to. It's pretty unique to be able to go through it with everybody. I'm sure those are lasting relationships that are tight because you did all 4 years together, right?
Yeah, it was definitely unique. It was great. We had a lot of good players, and yeah, it was definitely an awesome experience.
So let's go to the other side of it. So you coached for a year after, right? So what was it?
Mhm.
What was it like going from player to coach? And did they listen? Those that came around. But what was that like?
What was good about that was that, again, we graduated 7 my year, so most of the girls on the team the next year were freshmen, and
Right.
so I didn't really have a relationship with them. I was more of a coach.
Yep.
It was difficult being that young. I was 22 and in charge of 18-year-olds. That's not a big difference. So that was definitely a little bit of a. I would love to go back and start coaching again in a few years to where I do have a little more of an age difference. Um, it was tough, but it was awesome. It was great to see the girls, especially the freshmen. They come in and they do your drills and their putting improves, and I was hopefully able to teach them a lot about course management, about college in general. One of the girls for sure actually just graduated that I had helped recruit and brought in and coached the first year, and it's just so great to see her doing so well, and just to see her, graduate from college and play good golf in college, and just to keep that relationship has been great. But I'm not gonna lie, it was tough being that young
Sure.
and in charge of girls almost my age, So it would be much different if I went back now, but it was still just a great time. And again, I lived on the beach. I was a very happy person.
Yeah, yeah. That makes it a little easier. So eventually you want to go back someday, but you're not that far removed, right? So you're a little older, right? But what advice do you have? Would you have now for an incoming freshman that's playing golf this year? I mean, school's about to start. Girls are finishing up their summer, they're getting ready to go, and they're going to go join their team for the first time. What advice would you give them?
I mean, the biggest thing is just keeping an open communication with your coach. Cal Poly is a very academically strenuous school. We had a lot of engineers. We had a lot of architect majors, to where they spend a lot of time in labs and in class, and that means they're missing practice time. So as long as my girls were open with me and we made sure we were practicing and everything, it was great. It's when the girls just kind of try and do their own thing and then they forget to practice because they're studying, that's where you can struggle. So just make sure you keep an open communication, not only with your coach and your trainer, but with your professors. They're there to help you succeed. They don't want to fail you. So many freshmen are so scared of their professors. They're there to help you. And just keeping that open communication between everyone, it's going to help so much in the end.
That's great advice because it's just a new world to them, right? I mean, some have left their homes and gone, from coming from some other countries. I met a girl the other day from Australia that's like playing here in Colorado, and it's just there's so much new to them, right? So
and sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was like, it's new, but the coaches have been there a while, and the trainers have been there, and the professors have been there. So just use them and ask them questions. I mean, that's the best advice I got when I was coming into school, and I'm so glad I did. My professors, my coach, everyone just helped so much with everything.
Yeah.
That use people that know what they've already been through.
Sure. Well, I don't know. I certainly didn't. I'm 47 now. At 18, I wasn't listening to anybody. but girls, guys, those that are coming in, take Alex's advice and listen because they're really smart people. They know what they're doing, and they're not your parents. So
Exactly.
So listen hard. But so let's use your coaches. So that's the case. You go through that, right? You grow up. You're learning in that. What's the biggest lesson you learned, during your time in college that prepared you for where you are now today, for what you're doing or what you want to be in the future? What's your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway is find something that you love. I knew a lot of people who were in the wrong major and they didn't like what they were doing, but they kind of felt stuck. That's what they'd chosen. And instead of changing because, you know, it'd take longer to get out of school or for whatever reason, and now that they're out of school, they've changed careers and now they're happy. Like, you can just see the difference. And that's something I learned. I went to Cal Poly. I wanted to do biomedical engineering, mostly because I could make a lot of money doing that. But I didn't love it. And I learned that very quickly. And I love the golf industry now that I'm playing again, but even coaching and just being around golf makes me happy. And that's a big thing. That's what I learned. I mean, yeah, engineering was great and I was good at it, but I didn't love it and I wasn't happy doing it. Find something that's going to make you happy. And even if that changes in a few years, try to just find something that keeps a smile on your face, because that's more important than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, they call it work. I mean, they don't call it fun, right? I mean, they pay us to do it, but at least, you know, do the best you can to find something else. And so we were just talking a bit ago about being a math nerd, but what'd you say, biomedical engineering? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Way above
I
wanted to, got me.
I always wanted to go be a doctor. I wanted to go to med school.
Yeah.
I actually finally made a decision. I wanted to be a plastic surgeon. That was what I wanted to do. One, again, I could make a lot of money, and two, I could help people because I'd give back to burn victims and stuff. I did a lot of research into it, and biomedical engineering was the easiest transition rather than just pre-med.
Okay.
It actually had and that's why I wanted to do it. One, because it was more math-based than biology-based, which I was better at math, so I thought it would be more fitting for myself. But I just didn't want to do that. But I'm very lucky now. I found something I love, and I'm still able to give back. I do a lot of charity events through Long Drive, that I'm able to at least help raise money for charities I believe in through a very different route of giving back than plastic surgery, but definitely something I still very much enjoy doing.
Well, I think we both know, you know, what golf does to give back to the community and the, you know, the values underneath it, and especially what you were doing with the first tee. And it's just, you know, you know, you've got somebody, especially with these kids, you know, you go to a children's hospital and you see them struggling and the doctors do their things, but, you know, the opportunity to meet you, thinking they just need that, you know, give me something to root for and take my mind away from this. And, you know, the opportunities to meet you, watch you hit a golf ball or, you know, put a club in their hand, you know, goes just as far with them, I think, as the surgery does at times, right? To help them get where they're going. So it's wonderful. You're doing it if it's in your heart and you're doing it. So it's just, you're doing it a different way, and that's really cool. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
So let's talk World Long Drive, right? That's what you're doing. I mean, you're transitioning away, but let's talk about that for a little bit. You know, you found immediate success, you know, doing that event, but if you go back to that time, you know, you said you guys were hitting together and you could do it, but was there like a defining moment, or was there something where you're like, wait, if I focus on this, I'm pretty sure I could hit it further than anybody?
So there were kind of two moments. One was with Heather.
Okay.
And the fact that our numbers were pretty similar on TrackMan. Like, she's a world champion. And the fact that I could keep up with her without training, using her equipment, I was like, if I get stuff built for me, I thought I had a pretty good chance. It's a little different for the boys. The boys can find TrackMan numbers on the competitors, and they can find numbers on a lot of the boys that are competing. I couldn't find anything on the ladies. So, and it's very tough because all that there is the numbers that are winning, right? The yardages. Yeah. That really doesn't matter because it depends on the conditions. I won an event at 289, and I've lost an event at 377. So, I mean, that's a big difference. So if I'm hitting 289, people are like, that's not that far. Okay, it was in a 30-mile-an-hour headwind. Like, yeah, that was a good number. But 377 loses by 4 inches, you know? So it's tough. When the boys are able to find club head speed, ball speed, you know, that's the numbers that you need to compare. So I was very lucky that I was able to meet Heather and have that comparison. So that's when I learned that I could compete. And then after the World Championship, I got 4th place and was then invited to compete on the international long drive team down in Manzanillo, Mexico. And I was actually working for a news outlet. I was working for a local news station in Reno, and my boss wouldn't give me the time off. And I was like, okay, like I either need to stay here and keep this job, or I'm going to go to Mexico, compete on the International Long Drive Challenge, and kind of pursue that. Like that was kind of my two options, because I couldn't do both. My boss wasn't giving me the option, and I kind of just jumped all in. I gave my 2 weeks notice. I moved to Vegas with my sister. I drove my truck down here, unloaded it, and got on a plane the next day to go to Mexico. And that's how I decided I wanted to pursue it, and I wanted to actually try to do long drives and get back into the golf industry, because I'd been away from it for a little bit.
Yeah, that's all in. I mean, that's the only way, right? You're fully committed, and again, that's the track record you have, right? That's why you've been successful at this point, and no doubt it'll keep going. So that's amazing. Those are the stories, right? Just you believe in yourself, more importantly, and then you just go out and execute, right, and make that happen. But are those figures available now? Now that the World Long Drive is really getting more and more popular over these years, and are those figures available for other women that want to get into the sport and try to work their way through it, or do they still kind of got to grind and figure it out?
I think they're starting to become available. And the great thing now with social media and everything, especially I'm very visible on social media. That's how you found me.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of women reach out to me and be like, what do I have to do to compete? What do my numbers have to be? And all this stuff. And Heather was awesome in helping me. So I'm very happy that I can try and help others. I got my sister into it, actually. She competed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she got married and finishing her PhD, so she's a little busy, wasn't able to compete this year. But the fact that Heather helped me so much, I've had numerous women reach out to me just on Instagram, Facebook, just, again, asking for those numbers, asking what they have to do. And I think the Golf Channel is getting a little better about that and allowing those numbers to come out, because they do have TrackMan, because you can see them when you watch me and Mesquite, you can see my club head speed and everything. And they're starting to have a database with that information. But still the easiest way to do it is find one of the girls, find me, find Heather, and we want more women in the sport. So we try and help as much as we can.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, ladies, reach out to her on Instagram or the social media platforms, and get what you need. And you're on Morning Drive. You got some experience with the Golf Channel, so they'll maybe, I don't know if you got another one planned with them in the near future, but poke and prod. You've already in there, so give them a little poke and say, hey, get us the data we need. Right? Get us.
Hey, I thought I looked pretty good on there, so. I want to get back in.
Yeah. Early morning. So how early did Charlie Reimer have you there?
Oh my gosh. So unfortunately, the time that I went in with Charlie Reimer, it was actually the day after Arnold Palmer passed away, which was a very interesting day to be in the Golf Channel with how much the King had to do with the Golf Channel and just bringing golf to where it is now. So I was supposed to be on live with Charlie and everything, like in the 7 o'clock hour. But what happened was they were doing so much with the memorial. I ended up having to go earlier. I was there at 4 in the morning, and I felt so bad. Charlie looked like he needed some more coffee, and we were both struggling to get through. Yeah. But it was still a great experience, and it was a little somber around the studio, but it was still just for me, after working in the news, and Keith Hirschland wrote a great book. He was one of the original producers for the Golf Channel, and I loved it. He's from Reno, so I had a little love for that book. And he talked about, how the Golf Channel started. So being there and having just read Keith Hirschland's book and then having Arnold Palmer pass, it was a very, very interesting experience to be there that day.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you got to be as close to the King and his, stuff right then. So, wow, that's right. So what was the name of the book that Keith wrote?
Cover Me Boys, I'm Going In.
Okay.
And Keith Hirschland was the writer of that, and the first part of the book is kind of him growing up in Reno, which is great. He talks about, hopping the fence to play Washoe Golf Course, which everyone has done if you grew up in Reno. And so he talks stories. I mean, everyone knows this. the courses they talked about. So I had a little, I kind of laughed every time he said something like that about growing up in Reno because I know it so well. But the rest of the book, is talking about he worked for SportsCenter, and then he was one of the original producers, and how the Golf Channel came to be. He had a lot of stories in that book about the first few years of it and everything. He's a very good storyteller. So I recommend the book. I loved it. I need to find my copy. I let someone borrow it, and I got to read it again. But it was really cool. He talked about, and to read that book and how it came to be, and then to be at the Golf Channel and just see how much it's grown and how just phenomenal that facility is and everything it was really cool. Again, math nerd, just total nerd in general, really. So I loved it. I went on my own little tour, walked around, and my boyfriend at the time was with me. He's like, "What are we doing?" I was like, "I'm looking. I want to see all of it. I want to see every corner."
I'm soaking it all in. This is my time.
I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
And he'd already been there. He'd been on the Golf Channel, same thing. He's a long driver, and so he'd already been around. And he's like, "I've never even seen this part of the Golf Channel." I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm just going to continue walking until someone tells me to stop," because I was loving it. I watched in the different studios, everything. It was just an awesome experience for the nerd that is Alex Phillips.
That's great. I like the nerd that is Alex Phillips. That's wonderful. So I'm going to move that. That book's going to go top of the list. I'm going to read that one next. So
perfect.
I'll ping you on Instagram and tell you all
great.
about it. So tell you what I thought. So you got a lot of highlights. A lot of things have happened. But what do you consider kind of your best highlights so far of your pro career?
Of my pro career?
Yeah.
Mesquite was awesome. I did get a runner-up finish. I would have loved to win it for that runner-up finish. And, the best part about that is the amount of love and support I had, especially for my friends that don't know anything about golf. My best friend that I lived with back in San Luis Obispo, I don't think knows anything about golf. And she doesn't have cable, so she had to go down to a bar, get them to turn on the Golf Channel, and made her boyfriend come out, and they were watching. And my other friend sent me a Snapchat. He was at work and scared his coworkers because he screamed when I got into the finals, and he was watching it. And my other friend was at another bar. I mean, just the amount of people that were, how much effort they put into watching was so cool. It was great having my family there. My family's been there my whole life, but the amount of support that I had from my friends that really couldn't tell you the difference between a driver and a putter, that were watching just for me, not for any other reason, was probably my highlight.
I bet they, you cheered like rock stars, and I was, my kids are. Let's go back. I got an athlete. Right. And my son's got a great kind of hand-eye coordination, but it's just, he wants to do other things. He's a Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of kid. And, but so I'm cheering, I'm sitting on there, I'm on the edge of my seat. You bust one out there and when I'm cheering like crazy, and they'll look at me and they'll go, they can't hear you, Dad. Like that, they can't, people on TV can't hear you. I'm like, you don't get it. Right. And so your friends just, I bet that what an amazing experience for them just to be able to be so excited to see what you did and then have your parents there. And again, you gave us all a little cheer that they said, hey, that's my Alex right there. Right. So,
yeah, I'm very lucky with my friends. And I've got an awesome experience. My first World Long Drive Championships, one of my best friends is going to school in Arkansas, and she drove to Thackerville, Oklahoma to be there for me. And
wow.
I stayed in Dallas, and my best friend from Shreveport, actually, I haven't seen since I was in middle school. I ended up staying a night with her because I was like, I can come see you or stay in a hotel. She's like, I have a couch. I'm like, great. But the fact that I was able to see her and that she was so supportive, she's like, I know nothing about this. I haven't seen you in 15 years. I was like, I know. I don't care. We're still, just the fact that that's the highlight of my career. I'm so lucky I get to be able to do things like this and have people like that are there for me. And if it's in Thackerville, Oklahoma, or sitting at a bar on a pier watching, they've been awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So they don't know it. So maybe you can paint this picture for us. For those of us who never get the chance to stand on the grid, or like those folks, right? Paint that picture. What's that like? Right, where it's lit up. Here you go, and boom. Just paint it for us. My heart must be going like gangbusters. But what's it like? Paint that picture.
You know, it's crazy. And Mesquite was the first time I was ever live on the Golf Channel. I walked out, the crowd's there, everything. The TV cameras are right in your face. It's a different experience. It's everything, you know. You watch the Super Bowl on TV, and every Pop Warner football kid's like, I want that. Like that's how I felt. They have the music going. Everyone's in the crowd cheering. And especially, I was very lucky to have got finished in Mesquite. I'm living in Vegas now, so I was kind of the hometown girl at that event.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people who came out from Mesquite in Vegas that came out just to watch were kind of cheering for me as the hometown girl, which was even better. Like I always know my parents' voice. I could always hear them screaming first, but there were so many people yelling and screaming and supporting. It was just so cool. And they also, you know, they always put on country music for me because they know I'm a country line dancing girl. So it's just fun to have good music and to have everyone cheering. And you kind of black out for a minute and just wait for everyone else to tell you what happened.
Yeah. Like jumping out of an airplane, right? I've never done it, but people tell me you black out for a second because you can't process what's about to happen.
That's super fun.
So
you got to go do that one time. Jumping out of an airplane is great. I did it in Monterey. I could see Cypress and Pebble, and that was an amazing experience.
All right, if I do that, I'll give you that's probably where I would do it because you know. I mean, at least the water's below, but I've said this for years. I was like, look, the Pattersons are land-based people, but but we'll see. I don't know but that's a place to jump, right? Because the other option I had one time was in San Diego, like out in inland San Diego, like Brownfield or whatever it was. It's a beautiful place, but it wasn't on the coast. It was like we're gonna go jump over the mountain, just land in the dirt. I was like, yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah.
Right.
I did it in Monterey, and I told the guy I played golf, so he actually pointed out, you know, you can see number 17 or number 16 at Cypress. You can see part of Spyglass, which is my favorite golf course. You can see Pebble. So that was, I mean, for me, being a golfer and everything, that was the best place I could have done something like that.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Let's do it.
So I recommend it.
You're just full of wows. There's a lot of wows in Alex Phillips's life. So, you know, folks, if you you start following her now because you're going to get a lot of wow. So, way to go. So, you know, the one thing I noticed, you know, you hit on the grid and after watching that World Long Drive Championship and kind of starting to pay a little bit more attention to that part of the sport, the one thing that myself and my friends have talked about is, you know, how the swings of the women on the World Long Drive look like swings you take to the golf course, where, you know, the men are just going to rip the cover off the dang golf ball, and it's like, whoa, you know, and obviously some of them have skills to do it, but it's just, you look at what they do, and that doesn't look like that would transfer. Yet, you know, lady after lady after lady is just smooth as silk and going, you know.
So there's kind of two reasons for that. One is that we're smaller, so we have to be more efficient.
Okay.
That's the only reason I can compete in long drive. I'm the smallest one out there.
Okay.
And so I just have to be efficient. So my golf swing has to be tight, compact, has to be fast, but it still just has to be compact because I have to have a good smash factor. I have to hit the center of the club face. The boys, they're bigger. They have to be able to hit it harder. You know, they just have to get the club head speed up. As long as their club head speed is fast enough, even if they miss the center a little bit, they're still going to get a good number out of it. Okay. So that's kind of one of the differences. The other one is that most of the boys came from baseball. A lot of the long drivers came from some kind of college or major league baseball. And so they're just able to swing really hard at it. Where the girls came from golf. I played Division I golf, played at Sac State. Sandra played LET golf for a few years. I mean, we all played golf, where most of the boys played baseball. But everyone's like, well, can they putt? Like, it doesn't matter. That's like asking a rodeo roper if they can jump equestrian stuff. Same equipment, totally different sport.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, they can both ride horses, but it's totally a different area, you know. So that's the big difference in long drive. I mean, there's a few guys that have transferred. Jamie Sabowski's up on the Mackenzie Tour right now. Trent Scruggs got through the pre-qualifier of the military tribute last week. I mean, a lot of the boys can play. It's it's a different sport. I mean, and people don't realize that. Yeah, we're using USGA equipment, but it's completely different, especially for the boys. Where the girls, we still have to be good golfers because we're just smaller, especially me.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, and the sport is ability to grow and be specific to certain types, right? So people can focus on it, right? So it takes a special discipline to be that way, and but it is a little bit harder as as a female, like you said, to be that big and strong and do those things, and you make it tight and you make it compact, and I tell you what,
That's one of
you
the
hit the
things I
ball a
did.
mile, right? And I know so many. I mean, like you hit it farther than anybody I know, and it's pretty to watch. So it's uh,
That's
we got
I
to see it
did
up
a
close.
charity event with Tim Tebow's foundation,
Okay.
with Landon Gentry, and Landon Gentry, everyone wants to watch him hit. I mean, he's hitting at 400 plus yards, but he's 6'3", 260.
Yeah.
He's a big boy, you know. So when you see him and you see his club head speed and you see his John Daly backswing, like, all right, this guy should be able to hit it that far.
Yeah.
And then I stand up. I'm 5'5" if I stand up really tall. You know, like pound for pound, I hit the ball really far. There's just not a lot of pound.
Yeah. Well, what's
Guys
the, you got a
actually really,
saying, right? You've got some saying about a pound for pound, or you got to get a yard per pound, or how what's your saying on when you're playing against the guys, so that you got a fair your handicap system there?
yeah, my handicap is like I get a yard per pound of body weight
Yard.
difference. So I like
Hey.
to go against the big boys.
There you go. Exactly. I'll take
So,
you
I
on.
mean,
Let's go.
that's a big thing. It was always fun when I was when we have extra time and we're just hitting and stuff, because there's no other way for me to compete. I mean, I like to say women and men are equal, but they're just so much bigger than me. It's
Yeah.
not fair.
That's okay.
It's the same thing. I mean, if you look at me and Phyllis, every picture we have, I'm standing on my tippy toes because she's a giant.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, that's a big part of long drive, is having physics working in your favor. But at the same time, we can compete as little people too. It's just got to be a little more efficient.
Absolutely. Well, hey, you got it. That's for sure. And nobody's going to stop you from doing it, right? The past performance is an indicator of future performance, they say, and you've done it in the past, and you'll be doing it in the future. So, but into that, let's get to equipment, right? So, who are you working with? Like, what are your strategic partners, that help you get the most out of your game?
So right now, I actually have a TaylorMade M3 in my long drive equipment.
Okay.
And the
Twist
same
face?
thing in my play driver. The twist face.
Yeah.
And I have the 460, the full size head in my long drive, and the 440 in my play driver. And I haven't liked TaylorMade in a long time. My first set ever was TaylorMade, and I've yet to touch a TaylorMade club since then until this year. And you just can't beat the numbers. For me, the M3 is just producing the best shot. So that I kept that, and that's what I put into playing Mesquite. But really the important part is the shaft. I went through a lot of shafts, and then I found Carter Penley out of San Diego. I love that's American made, one.
Okay.
And two, Carter has been around forever and knows golf shafts. As soon as you start talking to him, he knows what he's talking about. And he sent me two shafts that fit me very well. That's what was in play in Mesquite. And it is one of the best long drive shafts I've played. A couple of the other boys play them. A lot of them, there's so many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
It depends on you and your swing. But right now, that's my setup in my long drive clubs right now.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm a little similar. Actually, I played TaylorMades when you were just getting introduced to the game. Some of the Tour Preferred ones, and
those bubble shafts.
Yeah, oh yes, I had a
Yeah,
burner. I had a burner with a bubble shaft.
set.
Look at you, yeah, going way back, raise the roof, right? So I played that, and then kind of over the years, and I started to. I didn't play that much, and then I started playing, and then I want to play more serious, and I got connected with some folks, and I transitioned over to Callaway for a while, and played Callaway stuff for a number of years, and then. The technology has just changed so much of recent, really, whether it's twist face or jailbreak or whatever. And one of the shows I've got with some of the guys that are on the team, we do these little 4 on the 4 shows, and we, kind of debate some different things. And we did that back and around, and I hadn't tried the twist face yet. And I went out, I went out after that show, I went through them both, and, I'll tell you, I ended up putting the twist face in my bag. I always had my driver cut down to like 43 3/4 or 44 at max, and I was tip stiff. I was just trying to get it right and play and tight and just smack. But I never really just crunched the thing. And it was
Yeah.
an interesting ball flight, and I ended up going with the M4 because even though I had my others, I was always kind of in a generally neutral session, and I thought if the face is going to save it for me, then what do I need to move weights all over the place? But it's the
Yeah.
first 460 I've had in my bag, and it's the first time in around 8 9 years that I have a full length driver. For me, it's 45 inches, and I actually hold it off the end, or I kind of cock it in the butt of my hand, and I try to get a little bit extra out of it. But I haven't. I'm 47. I haven't swung that hard, and but it's nice to be able to just rip one and then just let it work its way where it needs to go. That's wild technology, but it's I'm with you. I'm on the M4 side, but I can see what you
and
see, and you hit it a lot farther than I do.
and I love it. And I have a shorter shaft in my play driver. It's only 44 and a half. I think I just put a new one in. So I mean, but it goes straight. It's in play, which is great. That's a big part on the golf course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, there's so many good heads around. I'm not going to say like, oh, you can't hit anything but TaylorMade. Like,
Sure.
I think it's more about the shaft, honestly. But once you find something you like the look of and the sound of, and the numbers are good, it's whatever works for you. You know, it's totally different for everybody. I play Mizuno irons, and I don't think there's another girl I've seen in a long time playing Mizuno irons. It's just what works for you, you know. And I've just been lucky to find the stuff that's been working for me right now.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, that's the beauty of all the different golf stuff and the numbers and a TrackMan or the tools and club fitting and getting it right. And that you're absolutely right. The shaft is the biggest thing. People ask me that time. I'm like, I don't care what you put head on it. Get the shaft right. Then you'll be able to do what you need to do. So anybody else you're working with?
Like I said, I'm playing those Mizuno irons, and I love them.
Good.
They have been awesome to me, and I just love Mizuno in general. So they're some of the best irons that have been around forever, but they just have so many options. I mean, I would love to get even my mom a set of Mizunos because they have that cavity back option, and then like my dad and I play the blade, so it's nice that you have those options through that company. I'm working on a couple others, some smaller stuff. Power Up Wedge and Zori's Golf have been awesome to me this year. Zori's is actually a flip-flop golf shoe, which is so nice in Vegas when it's 400 degrees out here practicing.
Yeah, the flip-flop golf shoe. Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm kind of transitioning back to that golf. I need some new clothes. I need everything. But golf's been interesting. I've just been the equipment's been so big. The fact that I found those TaylorMade heads and I found those Mizuno irons, it's been big for me to be able to trust my equipment. I've always been working against it, and now that it's working with me, I'm so much happier and just really excited. And then the other side is my training side. I work with an awesome trainer and starting to work with some new supplement companies, just trying to figure out, what works best for my body. There's so many girls that use one thing, there's so many guys that use another thing, and I just got to find what works for me. It's not, there's no do this, do that, and this is what's going to happen. It's you got to try everything in the sport and then just find what works for you. It's been awesome.
Yeah, you know it.
So
you got to do it. I've watched some of your workout stuff, and man, you go at it so hard. I feel like I was actually getting fitter. I'm like, look at this, like, man. All right, I feel strong now. So it's a critical piece of the puzzle too. And I mean, you're obviously putting a lot of time into it. And as you've transitioned your game, I think you were powerlifting for a while. Now you're focusing a lot on the stretching and the other things that go with it, and the mobility and speed and. It's
I did. I when I wasn't playing golf a lot, I dig into powerlifting. I squatted 300 pounds, and then I was like, that's enough. Because at my size, that's a lot of weight to be moving. Which was fun, and it was awesome. I was going to start competing in it, but I also didn't want to destroy my body if I wanted to continue golfing. So I got back into golf. I'm still strong. I still lift weights, but I just seen a lot more of the mobility, the flexibility. The functional training is what my trainer likes to call it. Okay. So then I can't complain or make fun of it because I'm like, oh, like I want to lift heavy things. He goes, no, you get to do this one-legged, stand on your head, something or other, because it's functional, it's sport specific, it's getting me ready for what my body needs to be able to do and accomplish.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's critical. People forget that part of the puzzle, and it's especially as you get older, injury prevention, you name it, right? It's there.
And I think a lot of it is they don't give the time to find something that works for them. I had a trainer in high school. Pendola training was awesome. I then had Ross, over at a E2 Fitness was great. And then, you know, I keep moving on and trying to find what's working best for me. And I finally found what works for my body. But a lot of people ask me, and they're like, oh, I want to go to Joey D. Well, Joey D works for DJ and works for Brooks, but are they going to work for you? You know, give it that time. Give it a few months. See if it does. If it doesn't, don't stay with them just because they work with DJ.
Sure.
Find what works for you, you know, and that's a huge thing. And that's why I think a lot of people either don't believe in it or don't think it's such an important thing. It's because they're not finding the best thing for them. You got to find what works for your body and what works for your golf game.
Okay. Well, folks, you should, you know, watch her on Instagram. She's putting some stuff up there. Like, they can certainly learn some different things to try, you know, from you for sure. So get out there and move that body, right? Motion is the lotion for the joints, or whatever they say. So, all right. So, hey, I got a question. Actually, I got a couple questions from a listener, and I asked Kayla Lawrence, who did a show with me recently, one of his questions. But I looked at his questions, and I thought this would be a good one for you, especially, you know, as hard as you needed to swing the ball in that tight, compact move. But Brian Lee out here in Denver asked, you know, what are your swing thoughts for your takeaway and your downswing? And I thought that would be a great question for, you know, someone that needs to pump it on the grid as far as you have to. So what are your swing thoughts for your takeaway and your downswing?
So the biggest thing I think about is I have to have that pause at the top. Everyone thinks they have to swing so fast, right? If you do, you have to have some club head speed. Whether it's on the golf course or in the grid, you have to swing fast. But there's a difference between fast and quick. What most people gets them into trouble, they get quick. You take the ball away from the club away from the ball too quick. Your transition's too quick. You're all out of sorts. Your club head's still open, and that's where the big slice comes from. Or you try and fix it, and you try and overcome it, and that's where the big hook comes from, you know? That pause at the top. So you got to make sure you take it away with tempo, you pause at the top, and then you're going to come fast through the golf ball. That's a big difference, and that's something that people don't really pay too much attention to because it just starts getting quick. You can't get quick. You got to be fast. You can't be quick.
Yeah, I haven't, you know, that's good. I'm going to steal that from you, Alex, because I have, you know, people ask me from time to time, and I've never actually heard her said it that way. You got to be, you know, you got to be fast. You can't be quick. I haven't that piece of puzzle I've heard. Now, are you talking with a pause at the top? Are you talking like Hideki Matsuyama pause, or like a Jay Haas or Kenny Perry, where there's just a little bit, you just realize they set the club up there and, you know, kind of like, hey, this is where it's supposed to be, right? Yep, that's good. Got to go.
That's enough. Hideki is definitely an exaggeration. Yeah. But if you try and be like him, you're probably going to pause more like Tiger. There's barely going to be a pause. Yeah. People just, you very rarely see. And that's why Hideki Matsuyama, why it's so crazy to watch him and just have that just freeze move at the top. But that's a great drill because that's going to teach you how to swing fast from the top, but without getting quick in your transition.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, I need to watch him sometime at an event on a range. Somebody told me they saw him on the range and he had no pause. He was just smacking balls without even pausing. So and you see me on the range and I have a pause longer than his. So it really depends, and it depends on what you're looking for and what you want to do. There's so many drills and there's so many ways. Again, there's so many ways to swing a cat. There's so many ways to swing a golf club. I've seen Felix swing normally, one plane swing. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. But it's what's going to work for you and what's going to be repeatable, because that's what matters. If you hit a 7-iron 140 yards, you need to be able to hit it 140 yards, right? You don't want to hit it 120 yards and then 160 yards. You want to hit 140. Because once you're able to repeat something, you're able to trust in it and able to do it when you need to. Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of doing it, right? Figuring it out, trusting it, and let it go. So, all right, so that's 18 holes with Alex Phillips. But Alex, I gotta tell you, we got to have the emergency 9 question speed round. I need 9 more holes, okay. And I know you're busy and you're working hard, and we got to go. And I know you got more to do and gyms to get to and all that kind of stuff. And thanks
my
again
gym
for
owner is looking at me and wondering why I'm still in the parking lot and not in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get you to it. I got one final question for you after these, and then we'll let you get to that workout. So, all right. So here we go. I don't have any prizes for you. But,
Dang it.
Who knows? Maybe I'll get to Vegas. We'll do whatever. So, all right. Dream best ball partner.
Ernie Els.
Ooh, nice. Biggest golf pet peeve?
Slow golf. I can't stand it.
Oh, yep, gotcha. Mine's sunflower seeds. I hate those on the green. I hate seeing
Oh,
sunflower seeds.
yeah. Shoot seeds all you want. Don't spin them on the green.
Absolutely.
Or the tee box. It's gross.
Absolutely. All right, so you're about to go in the gym. Best exercise tip?
Keep your knees out when you squat. Don't let them fall in.
Yeah, there you go. All right, chunk and run out of a bunker or fly it to the hole?
Chunk and run.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
All right.
I went to school on the Central Coast. Of course it's wine.
Yes, there you go. Yep. All right, last show you binge watched?
Heart of Dixie.
Is that a Shreveport, Louisiana show?
Oh my gosh, Bluebell, Alabama, worse.
I have never heard of that show. Oh, I'll read the book. I don't know about Heart of Dixie. I'll start with the book, but we'll see.
Dear God, it is. No, it's not the book. Totally different. It is a Southern soap opera.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but I would not recommend it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put that on the list. All right. Favorite club in your bag, Alex?
My 3-iron.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got this fly high from Mizuno. That is so good.
Yeah. Oh, I had one of these side questions I didn't put on the list. It was going to be 3-iron or hybrid. So that's
3-iron.
Yeah, there you go. We'll double down. So the bonus. Maybe there was an extra tenth hole. Wow. All right.
I'm not sure, but I think I'm one of the only women playing professionally without a hybrid in my bag.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. So. Boy, all right. That's great. The guys on the team are going to love that, right? All right. So here we go. Caddyshack or 10 cup?
Ooh, I gotta say Caddyshack because my head cover is a gopher.
All right. So this is the final question here. When it's all said and done in your long drive career, what's the farthest you think you're ever going to hit that ball?
I'll definitely get over 400.
Yeah? All right. What's the number? You said over, but what's the number that stands in the record books for Alex Phillips? We want it here on the Fore Interview right now.
I like 412.
412. All right. Writing it down, locking it in. Right. 412. Alex Phillips will, put it on the grid. All right. All right. A final question for you. We'll let you get to work. It's a little more serious question at the end, but what don't people know about you, Alex, that they should know about you?
I'm a pretty open book. I think the big thing is just how much my family means to me. And by family, I mean my family and my friends. My friends and the family I've chosen. I would choose them over anything. I do family dinner with my parents and my sister and her husband. I mean, family just means so much to me. Everyone was really worried I didn't make it to Atlantic City this year with the Golf Channel for the third long drive event of the season. But it was my dad's birthday, and it just we were on a cruise for my dad's 60th birthday, and that was just something that was important for me to be there with him and all of our family friends. And I missed an event, which really kind of sucked. But I was so happy to be there for my dad and to be there with my family, and that's just something that's very important to me and something that, it's not all over my social media. It's not I don't post a whole lot about my friends and family, but they're the most important part of everything. So that's something I hope everyone, especially if I ever get another boyfriend, I do hope he knows how much my family means and how much my friends mean to me, because if they don't like him, he's out.
Yeah, no chance. Got no chance there. So, well, there's, hopefully in the future we'll get a chance to interview you and your sister together. I know, she's pushed you pretty hard, and she's studying for a PhD and recently married. And I would say if you're going to have to hit it any farther, why not try to out-hit a sibling? And, that's a fun story. But family is good. And again, we saw you dance on the grid, and it was sweet. But so people follow you. Instagram seems to be their primary. Is there other ways they follow you, or is that what you're preferring right now? Is the Instagram thing to find you and follow you?
That's the best right now. I just started a website. It's swinglikeagirlgolf.com, but it's still kind of in the works. I just got it up. It's not really running yet. So give it a couple months before you really check it out.
All right. All right.
I've just been crazy. I've been home for 26 hours at this point, and I leave for Idaho in 3 more. So I just leave. But when I can, I'm going to get that all together because that is important. But yeah, right now, Instagram, Facebook is going to be the best way to watch, keep track. Especially when I compete, I give my phone to my sister, and she helps keep everyone updated for me, which is nice. But that's usually the best thing about social media. You guys can keep in touch with me that way.
Well, folks, follow her on Instagram, and when you do, turn on those post notifications because she posts some really good stuff, and you're going to really like what you see and hear from Alex. So, Alex, I had a great time speaking with you today. Best of luck out there. This is the Fore Interview. Watch out. It's Alex Phillips. Alex, hey, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.